Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Magnolia Library and Community Center. Thank you for being here for tonight's mayoral debate. I have a few brief opening remarks, and then we'll get right to it. A quick announcement in the spirit of local politics. There are two housing forums for candidates for city council coming up that I would like to make you aware of. On Wednesday, October 29th, that's a week from tomorrow, at 6 p.m. and Thursday, that one is for the ward councilors, and Thursday, October 30th, that's a week from Thursday, also at 6 p.m. Both of these are at Gloucester Stage Company. Wednesdays for the ward councilors, Thursday for the at-large councilors. And you can find this flyer out on the table outside if you want to pick that up later on. Okay, as I say, welcome. I'm Chris Boucher. I'm on the board of the Magnolia Library and Community Center. I'd like to thank my fellow board members for their help here. Margaret, Kurt, and Liz, thank you very much. Thank you to 1623 Studios for being here and live streaming this event. You can find a video of it on their YouTube channel later on if you like as well. My thanks to the candidates, Mr. Lundberg and Mayor Verga, for their time in being here as well. The format of the debate, each candidate will give an opening statement of up to 3 minutes. We have a series of 6 questions that we've prepared. These questions have been compiled with input from the community, input from students in the Gloucester school system, and editing from our board of directors. 6 questions. Each candidate will have a chance to address each question for up to 3 minutes. They'll alternate in order. After the questions, each candidate will have an opportunity to give a closing statement. Again, up to 3 minutes on the closing statement. So I estimate the whole thing will take about an hour. If you could please silence your phones now or ensure that your phones won't go off, I would ask that of the candidates as well. Thank you. November 4th is the election. Please vote. That's the last thing I have to say, and we will get right to it. So before the debate, I drew a name at random. Mr. Lundberg will go first. So Mr. Lundberg, if you'd like to start with an opening statement, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm Paul Lundberg, and I am running for mayor of Gloucester because Gloucester is at a crossroads, and many of us feel that our concerns about our community are not being heard. It's getting harder for many families to afford to live here. Teachers, city workers, healthcare providers, artists, seniors, and families with kids in school are all challenged to find affordable housing. Our school population is shrinking. We have educational quality issues, and our families and educators are still suffering from the impact of a strike against our schools that could have and should have been avoided. Now, Gloucester's population diversity has always been an attraction to businesses wishing to locate here. But without quality schools and affordable housing, that diversity is shrinking, and we are less desirable as a destination for new businesses. And our business community needs a good civic partner in City Hall, someone who understands how businesses work, how they prosper, and how they succeed. My family roots in Gloucester are deep. My grandfather came here from Sweden over 100 years ago to cut stone in the granite quarries in Lanesville, and later became the city assessor. My father was a doctor at Addison Gilbert Hospital for his entire career, and also served the city on the Board of Health. I graduated from Gloucester High School. Our daughter's family is nearby, so we are lucky to have grandparent duty now and again. The future of Gloucester means everything to me. I went to college and received my master's in business administration from Northwestern University. My business career in the railroad industry began as a brakeman on the freight trains and continued in management as chief labor negotiator and chief operating manager. The key to my success is my ability to listen and collaborate with our employees and our customers with civility and respect, to reach agreements and to make the trains run on time. In Gloucester, I served as chair of the planning board and president of the city council. and I served 10 years on the board of Addison, Gilbert, and Beverly Hospitals. I've been involved in many specific efforts to make our city better, from the development of Stop and Shop, to Gloucester Crossing, to the funding of East Gloucester School, and to making sure that Addison Gilbert Hospital remains in our community. I'm asking for your support, your vote, and your partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Verga.
Hi, I'm Mayor Greg Verga, and I'm asking for your vote to re-elect me as your mayor. I'm running for mayor because I love this city, I love this job, I'm good at it, and I've got much more to offer. By now, I think most people watching are familiar with my bio. I grew up on Portuguese Hill in a multi-generational commercial fishing family. I was educated at Gloucester schools and drawn to my 18 years of civil service by my father's long career as the director of the Fisheries Commission and as a 7-term state representative. And I'm proud to have my grandchildren attending Gloucester elementary schools here at West Parish. My vision for this city is that it keeps evolving while staying true to the roots that my ancestors set down. And I've got the energy to deliver on that vision. We're on our way. We're steadily becoming a place where residents and businesses are served by leading-edge resources and support from their city. But there is more to do. I think being a successful mayor is about forward thinking and making decisions that account for the digital age that we live in. We have to preserve our heritage and community, but we can't use ideas from Y2K to tackle 21st century problems. I'm looking ahead, not back. I'm just built that way. That's why I partnered so aggressively with the district attorney to make Gloucester a state leader in the fight against elaborate consumer scams in this deep fake world we live in, which is especially important for protecting our seniors. That's also why I ended Gloucester's unwanted legacy as the last city on the eastern seaboard to upgrade our wastewater treatment into EPA compliance, because you can't put a price on a cleaner coastline. From my own experience, I know it's important to have a mayor who understands that every issue in Gloucester can't be the only issue in Gloucester. You have to be mayor for the whole city so all residents are considered when decisions are being made. From experience, I know that it's important for us to have a mayor who sees the whole field when it comes to managing a municipal budget, which is why I instituted 5-year budget projections for smarter planning. From experience, I understand that it's important for us to have a mayor who knows that you can't run a city like a business because they don't have the same objectives and responsibilities. As your mayor, I have found and will keep finding ways to do whatever municipal government can to keep Gloucester moving forward while never changing those things that we all love about this place. I'm fortunate and honored that I've won the confidence of Gloucester voters for this job twice. That means I bring 4 years of on-the-job experience to this campaign. That means I can walk into City Hall tomorrow, the next day, and on January 1st with a to-do list instead of, I know from experience, a steep learning curve. So with that in mind, I ask for you to please consider voting Verga on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to our first question. Mayor Verga will give the first response. Affordable housing has become an increasingly important issue as real estate prices rise steadily, especially in desirable locations like Gloucester. What specific policies or programs will you champion to increase the supply of housing that is affordable for residents across all income levels? Let me repeat the question and so that everyone can hear it, and then you can respond. Affordable housing has become an increasingly important issue as real estate prices rise steadily, especially in desirable locations like Gloucester. What specific policies or programs will you champion to increase the supply of housing that is affordable for residents across all income levels?
Okay, so there's two kinds of affordable housing. There's affordable housing with a capital A, which we've done quite a lot of work with, and then housing that is affordable. And we are desirable. We've been discovered. I don't think I could afford to buy my house today. It would be very difficult. So what we have done on affordable housing is, first thing I did is I reconstituted the Affordable Housing Trust. I came into office, there were not enough members to have a quorum. We built that out with people with a background in real estate, with banking, in affordable housing. And not only did we put the trust together, we gave them some actual funding to work with. We plugged in $1.5 million of ARPA funds into the Affordable Housing Trust. We also committed to and delivered on putting all of the short-term rental tax we receive from Airbnbs into the trust. To date, that's $340,000. We'll soon have our free cash numbers and hopefully put another 6 figures in there. And what we have done through the trust is support projects like the YMCA, the old YMCA on Middle Street, which created multiple units. They're also working on the Patella building next door, which is going to create some more studio units. We're working very closely with Harbor Lights on the old nursing home on Washington Street, which could be 63 new units, 55 affordable rental units, deed-restricted rental units, and 7 affordable deed-restricted sale units. And what they're going to be doing, Harbor Lights, is pushing the state, because the state has to approve this, for a 70% preference for Gloucester residents in the lottery. That's a big deal. We're also working with Harbor Lights on the project for senior housing down on Main Street, near the, for those of you who've been here for a while, the old animal shelter, next to what's now Black Bear, or was Black Bear Barbershop. So those are the efforts on affordable housing with the capital A. What we're doing is we've just put together a committee for the Gloucester Housing Compass, which is basically our updated housing production plan. When I came into office, the plan was approved, had been approved in 2017. It expired just a few months after I became mayor. So the new housing production plan, we'll look at updating that based on today's information. I'm interested to see how the projected demographics of the old plan align with the demographics that have actually happened over the last 5 or 6 years. And we'll be looking at new zoning recommendations. There were some zoning recommendations from the old housing plan that had already been put forward before I took office that were unfortunately shot down. 6 out of 9 were shot down by the city council. But that was while we were dealing with the 3A compliance issues. So this new plan will be built on today's residents, based on today's resident input, and we will put that forward hopefully early in the next year, or sorry, by the end of next year, and get some new zoning suggestions to the city council that can make a real difference.
Thank you. Mr. Lundberg?
So affordable housing is many, many things and many tools. The items that the mayor has just cited are all very important, and they go to supporting housing that is already underway by other entities, developers, and the affordable housing coalitions that exist, and they're very, very important. But the contributions that are made to those do not fund those projects completely. In fact, they are just a small bit of what the funding is necessary. What affordable housing is all about is having an advocate for what needs to be done. The housing amendments that the mayor spoke of that were formulated by the housing production plan were specifically designed to create housing that residents could increase on their own properties and add that level of housing for that affordable band of workers that I spoke of earlier. Those failed because they did not have an advocate in the city. It is the job of the mayor to be the advocate for those programs, and the city council and the mayor together did not accomplish those, and now it is 3.5 years later, and we still don't have the affordable housing tools that were created by the housing production plan. So the important thing is to have an advocate, someone who's speaking to the reasons why we have to do some things that may be popular and may be unpopular. But the tools are there, and we can, but with a good advocacy and good leadership, we can get that going right away. No more studies that end up on the shelf. Let's get some things done.
Thank you. On to our second question. Mr. Lundberg, you'll give the first response. I'll read the question twice. What is your philosophy for managing the city's budget, and where do you see the most significant opportunities for either investment or cost savings? Again, what is your philosophy for managing the city's budget, and where do you see the most significant opportunities for either investment or cost savings?
So the city's budget is two things, as are most budgets. There's the operating budget, which pays for the employees and all the services that we need. And then there is the capital budget, which pays for the things that we need to build and the planning that we need to do in the future. One of the things that is really important is that the citizens know what's going on with both of these things. The operating budget's pretty plain, it's pretty clear. The city council gets to do it every year, and there are plenty of hearings, and we know what we need to have to spend to provide those services. The investment budget is different, and the investment budget, again, needs leadership. I know that we have the big ticket item that we have on the table right now is the upgrade of the wastewater treatment plant. It is something that we had waivers on for many years, and now we have run out of time on that, and we have reached an agreement with the EPA to build it. What we don't know is how much it's going to cost us. We know we have a grand total, but the administration has yet to tell the citizens how much it's going to cost each of us. And so making an investment decision is the first requirement for an investment decision are what are the facts. And the idea that there is some kind of other money out there that we can access, unspecified and unidentified, is not good enough for the citizens to understand what investment decision they need to make. So it's very important, and as mayor, I would make sure that everyone knew exactly what we were looking at in terms of the cost of that particular project and any other project. Once we have that cost, and when I say what that cost is, how much is it going to cost each taxpayer on their real estate bill to pay for that wastewater treatment plant? Then you take the next step in any kind of an investment plan. Then you see if there are other ways to fund it. But you don't start out by telling everybody, we're going to get free money and don't worry about it, which is what the current administration has done.
Thank you. Mayor Verga?
Yeah, I don't believe I've ever said don't worry about it, because I am worried about it. Maybe if past mayors and council presidents had taken this more seriously, we wouldn't have a $200 million sewer plant to be building. We've wasted time, and it's cost the city tens of millions of dollars in stalling this project for 3 decades or more. One thing we don't talk about investment, something we've done differently, is we have sizable stabilization funds. They are now invested in higher yield interest accounts. Before we were getting zero. So we're managing to make some money that way. We budget quite differently. I mentioned in my opening about 5-year budget projections. So believe it or not, this city, up until this fiscal year, did not have 5-year budgeting projections. We did not have financial operating procedures. We now have those. We have a wonderful CFO who rose through the ranks, came here as the assistant, and we unfortunately lost our CFO after 10 years. He died unexpectedly. And Connor McCorkle has come in and done a great job bringing us into the 21st century, skipping right over the 20th century, because Gloucester had been behind the times. So when you're building a budget, you've got to look at all aspects of it. You know, there's competing needs, competing wants and desires. We had the teachers' strike last year. If we had settled the teachers' contract with what was originally asked, the teachers and the paraprofessionals, this year's budget would have had a $3 million hole in it. So I would like to know which fire station or which school we would have closed to reach that goal. I'm the mayor for the whole city, not the school department, not the fire department, not the DPW, the mayor for the whole city. When you have the city budget, you have to squeeze the balloon and decide where the money's going to go. Planning this, trying to find efficiencies, this is what this administration has been doing for the last nearly 4 years, is trying to streamline our city government. You know, city government is a difficult thing. It's like taking that tankage chip and trying to turn it around. It's not an easy process. We have, since the strike, we have settled 9 other contracts on the school side of the budget. We've settled 5 of 6 city-side contracts. No one's heard about that because they've all been reasonable, and there's been no fanfare, and the employees are very happy with what we're doing in terms of that, and providing other benefits like paid parental leave, which was an idea. I'll give credit to the teachers who brought that up in their contract negotiations. So we are on the ball, trying to find ways to save money. And let's talk about the sewer plant. I still have time, right? We do not know how much it is going to cost each taxpayer. All we know is we ignored it for 40 years, and now we're doing something about it. And we are going to continue seeking grants until that loan is paid off. But one way or another, the answer is we collectively are going to pay for that project. But if we didn't do it now, it would be at least another $50 or $100 million 10 years from now. So we took action where previous administrations and city councilors didn't.
Thank you. On to our third question. Mayor Verga will give the first response, and again, I'll read the question twice. Around the country, there's a growing trend of ICE agents entering local communities to apprehend individuals of various immigration statuses, with a recent example close to home in Everett. What is your view of this activity and the possibility that similar incidents could happen in a diverse community like Gloucester? And what would be your response as mayor? I'll read the question again. Around the country, there is a growing trend of ICE agents entering local communities to apprehend individuals of various immigration statuses, with a recent example close to home in Everett. What is your view of this activity and the possibility that similar incidents could happen in a diverse community like Gloucester, and what would your response be as mayor?
So my opinion is it's disgusting. I mean, I think we all prefer legal immigration. I mean, there's no question about it. But I think what's going on right now is a bit heavy-handed. I can't speak for everybody in the room, but that's my opinion. It's being heavy-handed. I think we need to have a little more empathy and think about why these people came here. My grandmother came here trying to escape poverty in World War I. A lot of other people's have their roots are traced back to other issues. The people who are here now who are doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do, and we're finding out there's a lot of vacancies now because people from restaurants and the fields are being taken away. So I'm disgusted by what's going on. I think it's absolutely unnecessary. There is state law that prohibits what local communities can do. Our police department is following the rules, the letter of the law, the state law. They do not get involved in assisting ICE agents. If there's a warrant for someone who's a criminal warrant for someone, they will get word from ICE that they're coming to town, and the police will assist as needed for safety. But we are not going out on raids. Our police department is not going out on raids, and I would assure the members of this community that we are doing what we have to do by law, state law, and we are not participating in the roundups. I think there are other ways to achieve the goal of, legal immigration. I think that this shouldn't be a discussion about federal policy, but I think the all-or-nothing approach we've had over the shifting in administrations at the federal level is not working. The two sides need to get together and come up with a real solution for the millions of people who are here now, who are part of our communities. But I just want to assure our friends, family, and neighbors that your city government is behind you on this, and we are not supportive of the masked men coming into town and the heavy-handed tactics that you're taking. It's again, I'll say it for the third or fourth time, it's a disgusting situation we have going on.
Thank you. Mr. Lundberg?
So we are the original immigrant community. We are older as an immigrant community than any other city in the United States, and we have a great history of welcome, and we have a great history of empathy. And one of the things that we have done over the years is take a leadership role in making sure that the immigrant communities, whatever they are, and they come from different countries and at different times of over our history, making sure that they have what they need to assimilate into our society, and we've done a great job of that. Of course, we are going to follow the law, and we are not going to participate in the heavy-handed tactics that we're seeing all over the country right now. And I share the mayor's view on that. That is what we will not do. And we will always advocate for the rule of law, and we will always try and find a way to make sure that our law enforcement is clear on that. That's the easy part. The hard part is how do we advocate for those immigrant communities who are here and part of our community right now. That's another thing that leadership can do. If we are a welcoming community, it's one thing to say we welcome you, and it's another thing to say, and here are some things we can do to help you with your assimilation into our society. Our city can be a leading role in that, something we don't do now and something that we really will do if I'm the mayor.
Thank you. On to our fourth question. Mr. Lundberg will give the first response. Again, I'll read the question twice. How do you balance the needs of the working waterfront with the promotion of tourism and other commercial ventures? Again, how do you balance the needs of the working waterfront with the promotion of tourism and other commercial ventures?
So again, when I look at our city and I look at the assets that we have, that is one of the unique assets. Not only is it a beautiful and natural harbor, but it harbors the incredible economy of the history of our community. The designated port area, which is the state law, and the marine industrial zoning, which is the city law, are there to protect the fishing industry from being, from an economic standpoint, so that the fishing industry, whatever that is, and we'll get to that in a minute, has the ability to go to sea and to be and to engage in the ocean. The fishing industry has changed tremendously over the years. We dominated the fin fishing industry for hundreds of years, and now the fin fishing industry is pretty well diminished. The lobster industry has taken its place as the primary fishing industry in Gloucester. The marine industrial zoning and the designated port area are there to protect the business needs of those industries, but they have changed. So what I would do is I would take a very serious look at how we can accommodate the changing business needs of these fishing industries and make sure that they have what they need to prosper. In doing so, that is the first step of the plan. The second step is then how can we use the waterfront to enhance the tourism industry? Both things are possible, and we can balance both things. But the first thing is to engage in a business analysis with our fisheries and make sure they have what they need on the waterfront. But it's possible to do both.
Thank you. Mayor Virgo?
Could I just ask you to repeat the question?
Yes. How do you balance the needs of the working waterfront with the promotion of tourism and other commercial ventures?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think we have to recognize that Gloucester and fishing industry are synonymous. I mean, that's why my grandfather came here in 1912. Was, you know, it wasn't to be a data analyst. It was here he came here to fish. So it's an important part of our identity, past, present, and future. And as long as I have a say in it, Gloucester's fish industry will be part of our heritage. But they go hand in hand. The tourism industry, people do come to see the working waterfront. That is a key component of it. Some of the things we have been doing, we do have a fisheries commissioner, and we do have a fisheries commission, which actually we have a home rule petition going through the legislature now to modernize it. The commission document is from the 50s, and it's been a bit outdated, so we're looking to get it updated through the state legislature. And we recently hired an economic development coordinator. And we're looking to include the waterfront in a BID, a business improvement district. So we have a holistic approach to it. And I know there's also interest among the EDIC to create a new industrial park of our harbor, our working waterfront. So it is something that people come to Gloucester for, and we have a lot of businesses down there that need a helping hand from us. But as Mr. Lundberg mentioned, we have the designated port area, which is the state law, and we have our own marine industrial, which puts severe limitations on what can be done down there. We only own 2 properties within the DPA. One is the I-4C2, which is now being used as parking, which incidentally is not a allowable use in the designated port area. And we have another piece over on Commercial Street that we take it through tax title. The rest of the property is owned by private industries. So one of the beauties of the bid is we can get them involved and try to help their businesses. But they privately owned properties do not benefit from the promises made when the designated port areas were created. Conversely, down in New Bedford, they're just the opposite. They own most of their waterfront. So we do have work to do, and it's also trying to get some relief. And I'll give a sort of an aside. When the current harbor plan was being developed, there was discussion about removing our parcel, the I-4C2, from the DPA, requesting that it be removed. And rightly so, the members of the committee said that's not fair to all the privately owned properties. So our work in waterfront is a key component of our economy, but it is also a key component that is drawing in the rest of another important aspect of our economy, which is the tourism industry, which some people do not like tourists. Some people would like to see no tourism in town, which is not very helpful for the people who own, say, rooming houses or restaurants or shops. So it's an important part of the economy. We're not going to let it go, but I'm sure a strong fishing industry helps to promote that as well.
Thank you. Our 5th question, and Mayor Varga will give the first response. Again, I'll read the question twice. What is your view of the state of downtown Gloucester? How will you support local businesses, address vacant storefronts, and attract visitors? In particular, many Gloucester residents are becoming concerned about the east end of Main Street, an area of town that seems to have become less safe and from which businesses are departing. What solutions do you propose to keep this area safe and vital? I'll read that again. What is your view of the state of downtown Gloucester? How will you support local businesses, address vacant storefronts, and attract visitors? In particular, many Gloucester residents are becoming concerned about the east end of Main Street, an area of town that seems to have become less safe and from which businesses are departing. What solutions do you propose to keep this area safe and vital?
Okay, sort of take those part by part. So let's address safety. I think we're talking about the Gray Center. I'm pretty sure that's what the origin of this question is. And we have to understand, back to the question we had about immigration and the immigrants, having a little bit of empathy. The Gray Center serves a purpose. It's a very vulnerable population, and without the Gray Center, things could be really ugly around here. And I must say that the Gray Center's personnel, including their president in Salem at their mothership, LifeBridge, are very responsive when there are issues related to, the thing is, it's a changing population. So when you have people come in and they're hanging around, they're loud, whatever, the Gray Center will talk to them. But then there's another group of people. So it's constantly shifting with who their client base is. But they are a very good partner to us. We work closely with them as needed. Our police department, our community impact unit, get down there and they work with their clients, and we're trying to avoid any more issues. It's not a slam dunk, but it is, again, a vulnerable population. I just ask people to be patient and have empathy when we're trying to deal with them. As far as downtown goes, we have I mentioned the Economic Development Coordinator. I mentioned the BID, the Business Improvement District, which is now in high gear with the new Economic Development Coordinator who just started, I think, 3 weeks ago, Monday. They'll be looking to include that whole area, which through a voluntary tax, if they agree to it, or some other source of income, whether it's grants or whatever, they will have a focus day and night on the downtown area. Vacant storefronts is a tricky one, but they are filling up. The East End has always been sort of like the stepchild down there, but the other project we have underway is wayfinding. So one of the key things we've talked about since we started the wayfinding mission was to have signage at the top of the hill where the Action Building is to point people to the east end of Main Street, to point people down to the waterfront, point people to Middle Street. So the whole idea is to have the flow of traffic, both vehicular and people, to all three of the main roads down there. It is a tough one. I mean, we're in a tough business environment right now, dealing with a lot of issues based on what's going on at the federal level. But we are here. We have the right people in place that are doing the job to make things better downtown. There is work to do, as I said in my opening statement. There's no question about it. But our small businesses are the backbone of this city, and we're going to make sure that they get what they need.
Thank you. Mr. Lundberg?
So the two parts of that question really raise the essential issue of what that I've been talking about since I was running for mayor, and that is partnership. What exactly is partnership? The mayor said that we've been a good partner about the issues brought on by the location of the Grace Center. And yet, if you ask anybody who is a resident down in that neck of the woods in the East End, the business owners and the people who live there, there is no partnership because the solution hasn't been reached yet. So part of partnership is figuring out what the goal is, and we clearly do not have a goal of what we want to have happen on the East End. There is a goal, there is a solution to that, just as there is a solution for the city to be a good civic business partner to those businesses who occupy Main Street. When we talk to the business owners, they are pretty unanimous in their feeling that the city has not been a good partner because they say the city doesn't understand what we're doing down here and trying to make a living. The city more or less observes and kind of cajoles along, and one of the hallmarks of partnership is explaining exactly what we're faced with. The mayor has mentioned the bid a couple of times. I would ask for a show of hands as to who knows what the bid is. It's called a business improvement district. What it is has never been explained, or how it can be a benefit to the business owners and their needs down in that area. The business owners are not particularly excited about the bid because it's asking the property owners to fund things that the city should fund. And again, without having a clear goal or a plan, there is no way to move forward. So just listing all the things and their initials as to what's happening or what's going on does not replace the partnership part of this. The city owes it to the business owners, and the way that we make a vibrant business community is by creating a plan with them and becoming the advocate of that plan. We haven't done that yet, but we can do it, and it's possible. And circling back to the Grace Center, there is a solution for that too. And the Grace Center management, they are experts on this, and we are experts on managing our city and our business environment, and together we can do something. But we have to be the leader. We have to engage the Grace Center and their hierarchy as to solving this problem, not stand by and just call the police when there's a disturbance and hoping that the Grace Center comes along and puts out the fire. That is not a plan, and that is not leadership.
Thank you. Our sixth and final question, Mr. Lundberg will give the first response. Again, I'll read the question twice. After last year's teachers' strike, how do you plan to negotiate and establish a city budget that ensures fair compensation for educators while maintaining fiscal responsibility? What specific steps will you take to prevent future strikes and build a more efficient, collaborative budgeting process and improve the relationship between the mayor's office and the school committee? Again, after last year's teachers' strike, how do you plan to negotiate and establish a city budget that ensures fair compensation for educators while maintaining fiscal responsibility? What specific steps will you take to prevent future strikes and build more efficient collaborative a more efficient collaborative budgeting process and improve the relationship between the mayor's office and the school committee?
Sure. Thank you. And that is a terrific question to end on, because that really is the essence of what we need to do as a city management. As I said in my opening statement, the teachers' strike was unnecessary and could have been prevented with some foresight and with some plan. Unfortunately, the city did not step up and get to the crisis before the crisis occurred. One of the most important things to do in any kind of negotiation, and particularly a labor negotiation, is to understand the needs of the parties and to get those needs settled before there is a crisis. And that was possible with the teachers' strike. Unfortunately, the city, in the form, and the city has a benefit here because the city charter makes the mayor a member of the school committee. And the reason for that is so that these things don't happen, so that the city can be attuned to the issues that are present and need to be settled before they become a crisis. When you have a strike and you can settle it on day 15, you can settle it on day number 1. And that is just one of the principles of labor relations. So why wasn't it settled? Because we did not have the vision or the clarity of purpose to collaborate with the teachers' union as to what was necessary. Now we have a situation where we've had a 2-week strike which damaged the trust between the parents and the teachers, and that trust needs to be repaired before we can get back to educational excellence and to making sure that we are among the best school districts in the region. And we can't do that by just pretending it didn't happen, and that's what's happening right now. So one of the things I would do is establish that collaborative relationship right now, make sure we all knew what our responsibilities are, and make sure that becomes the going forward position, that we do this together. But to have allowed the bargaining to get to the point where there was a crisis, when the crisis was in fact settled after a 15-day strike, was unconscionable, and that is not leadership.
Thank you. Mayor Virgo?
I guess what is not leadership is saying something as confusing as if you can settle on day 15, you can settle on day, or before the strike is what you said before in a previous forum. I have here the spreadsheet of what the costs are if we had settled on those strike. The thing that would have settled the strike is to give them exactly what was requested in their original ask. Over the course of the 2 contracts, we'd be looking at about, $8 million that the city would have to find within the budget. And finding within the budget means you're cutting something else. So in the olden days, Magnolia Station was closed quite frequently. Bayview Fire Station was closed quite frequently. We ended up closing Fuller School because of budget restraints. Reasonable contract negotiations are reasonable contract negotiations. I'm not sure how avoidable it was where Beverly voted to strike the same day as Gloucester, and Marblehead followed suit the very next day. And I have difficulty talking about this now because we've spent the last year trying to rebuild the relationship, so I don't want to open up old wounds, but the facts are the facts. We settled 9 other contracts on the school department since that strike. No fanfare. 5 of 6 on the city side with no fanfare. What's the outlier? That's the question I'd like to ask. Fair contracts are, I guess, what is fair? Is it what's affordable or what you want? We have a city to run. It's difficult to get. I would love to give every employee in the city, from the lowest rank and file employee to the top, $200,000 a year or more. It's just not in the cards. I'm not the mayor of the school department. Though I am on the school committee. I'm not the mayor of the police department, nor the DPW, or any other department. I'm the mayor of the city of Gloucester, and our budget has a finite amount of money to work with. 2.5% increase in our budget, it limits what we can do. Okay, when you have your fixed costs going up at double digits, say health insurance, for instance, and other contractual obligations, it doesn't give a lot of room to work with. I love our teachers. I love our paraprofessionals. I'm happy with what they're doing with my grandkids over at West Parish School. I'm happy with what they did with my kids when they were in school. The fact is, we have to work within the constraints of the budget we have. And I will do everything we can to avoid problems going forward. But I must reiterate, 11 total contracts on the school side, 9 were settled post-teacher strike. You didn't read about it in the papers. 5 of 6 on the city side were settled post-teacher strike. You didn't read about it in the papers. We got the job done. We have to make sure that we can move forward, but it's hard to budget and plan for what's going to work within the budget because we don't know what we have every year. It's based on new growth and the 2.5% increase.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I have no further questions, so we're on to closing statements. Mayor
Sound like a lawyer
Virgo
there.
will go first.
Yes, thank you.
And you'll each have up to 3 minutes. You ready, Mayor Virgo?
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm proud to be part of Gloucester's heritage, and I'm incredibly lucky to have learned all of those important lessons my family and my community taught me up on Portuguese Hill, especially the value of service to others. From my great-grandfather to my grandfather out on the fishing boats to my dad working as state rep and my 18 years as a city councilor, school committee member, and now in the mayor's office. My family has been fighting for a century to make Gloucester a better, more prosperous place for everyone. My immediate family didn't have it easy. We made ends meet thanks to food stamps, thanks to government surplus provisions and the free lunch program. Later, when my wife Kelly and I were a young couple, we needed a hand up, and fuel assistance helped us pay for heat. WIC helped us pay for food. Those experiences shaped the way that I see the world, and putting plans into action has been the hallmark of my tenure as mayor. There's a reason the governor and lieutenant governor have endorsed me once again. There's a reason Essex County DA Paul Tuck has endorsed me. So has Mass Nurses Association, a number of city councilors, and former mayors Bruce Tovey and Carolyn Kirk. All of these folks see the results that are actively bettering our citizens' lives. In the 4 years I've been mayor, Gloucester has become more climate resilient, more energy efficient, more modern, and more welcoming to visitors. While city government has been more transparent than ever before, improvements to our streets and thoroughfares, our buildings and institutions, our city services, and the way public information is shared have streamlined people's lives and eliminated headaches. But being a successful mayor is more about than checking off a list of projects. It takes a deep understanding of what makes us unique, our maritime heritage, our cultural and economic diversity, and our strong sense of community. My vision for Gloucester is a place my ancestors would be proud of, a place where residents benefit from as many resources and as much support as the city government can provide. Over the next 2 years, I see a Gloucester where we keep refining our core city services for residents, improving downtown parking access, empower a more diversified business community, and start creating real relief for entry-level and middle-class housing crisis, and make things just a little bit easier to make ends meet. I have those plans, and I have the passion and energy and the enthusiasm to see them through. My 2025 campaign has been about promises made and promises kept. And I promise that if you check out the debates, the forums, the interviews, and mayoral statements available from 1623 Studios, and you watch me and my opponent side by side, the distinction will be clear. You'll see someone who tells you what they've done, what they're doing, and what they're gonna do, and you'll see someone who doesn't. So please visit Vote Virga for an expanded list of my administration's accomplishments so far. In the meantime, I've built momentum for the city. I know the job. My team's a well-oiled machine, and I'm primed to keep putting the work in and keep getting things done. Let's stay the course, Gloucester, and please vote Virga on November 4th. And thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Lundberg?
So I think the most important thing for us to look at when we have this choice to make between two mayoral candidates is just what are we looking for in terms of leadership. One of the things that the mayor mentioned is transparency. What exactly is transparency? The mayor mentions that we settled the teacher's strike and that we settled 8 or 9 other settlements without fanfare, you didn't read about it in the papers. That's not good management. All of us are members, our community are the shareholders of this enterprise. We should know what's going on. We didn't know what was going on when the teacher's strike occurred because no one told us. And the leadership about what the economics were, as the mayor's holding up a piece of paper now and claiming that here's your economic lesson, everybody, I'm waving this piece of paper. We didn't know at the time what was going on. We didn't know what these settlements are that the mayor just alluded to without fanfare because no one is telling us how our city is being run. That is the thing that I will bring to our city, that the important thing for all of us to know is what's going on a daily basis, on how we can all make collective decisions, because that's how we get the most bang for our buck, but it's also how we feel pulled together as a community, that we've done something together, that we have a common understanding about the things that are important. Our schools are half the budget, and probably the most thing that's the thing that we can control most of all, and it's the thing that is the soul of our community. And we were led down a path that caused great damage for that, and right now we have no solution for that. So my version of leadership is, number one, to tell the citizens what exactly is going on before it happens so that we can all be informed, and number two, to engage all of the participants in a collaborative venture. There was no collaboration with the teachers before the teacher's strike, that's for sure, and that was possible. So I will do that. That is the kind of vision that I have for our city, and it's possible, and together we can have a discussion as to what's right for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. I'd like to thank 1623 Studios. Please visit their YouTube channel. I'd like to thank the candidates, Mayor Virga and Mr. Lundberg, for your time. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. Please vote on November 4th. Good night.